Hi, let me show you a little bit about All About Reading Level 2. So this is the teacher's manual. I've ripped out a couple of the first lessons. What I like about this program is that it is very straightforward and very simple in what they are asking you to do on a daily basis. They walk you through some teaching lessons, and some things to say as you're reading different activities with your child, how to use the activity sheets in the other book. And I simply just pull out a couple pages for each lesson. You know, for instance, I'd pull out lesson 13 here. The pages rip out really easily, and I file them in my daily folder, which I'll show you in a few minutes. So this is the first year that I have actually followed the teaching plan in a teacher's manual. I think it's going extremely well. The information is really great. I do combine it with a few other spelling rules from the Logic of English, but generally speaking, the lessons are quick. We move through them relatively fast. Every day is a little bit different. It's not always the same thing. It's not always flashcards. It's not always reading sheets. It's not always reading from the book. He does a lot of cutting out of activities in the activity thing. And then every day we stick our sticker on our chart. Not every day, but every couple days we go through a lesson. And so here is just kind of a walkthrough of what the teacher's manual looks like for Level 2, All About Reading. And then extra sheets here, some of which I pull out also for my other folder. This is the student activity book. They call it Leap into Reading. Level 3, they call it Swing into Reading, so each one's a little different. Same thing, perforated pages. Every lesson has some activities. This one has a cat in a tree, and there's words in the back. So Nathan would get to do the cutting out for the lesson. And then each lesson also has word lists to go with it. Some of them are just review, previous lessons. Some are phrasing. Some are setting you up for the next story you're going to read. And then they even have challenge words. So these, I also, same thing. I'll pick lesson 12. And I'll pull out all the pages that go with lesson 12, and I will sort them out into my daily folder. And as we use them, we just toss them and we're done. If he likes one of the activities, oh, here's a reference page. If he likes one of the activities, we can save it for him to use over and over again. Every activity is a little different, so it's not monotonous. He gets to read the page. He gets to get rid of the page. He likes that. I really like these sentence practice. You start with something and build on the phrasing, so it helps with fluency in reading. Those are kind of nice. Just a variety of different things. Cutting out, he likes that. Fun ways to practice the reading. And they're touching on different subjects, different ways of exploring a story, skimming through for details or taking notes as you go along, some of those things. It's not color, but the graphics are really nice. There you go, letter writing. I'm not sure what some of these are because we're not there yet. So, trying to get you a better view inside. And we end up doing about 2 lessons a week. So one day we'll be doing the activity and the teaching. The next day we'll be doing the reading in the book, something like that. So if you do a 4-day week, you can do about 2. If you do a 5-day week, there might be some days that you get through. Your family, of course, will work at whatever level is appropriate for you. But as a second grader working on this book, this level is kind of claimed to be level grade 1, grade 2. So as a second grader, he's an emerging reader, but a second grader. And so this has been really perfect for him to jump into with some challenge, but not so much to make him hate reading, which is, if you're reading the blog to go with this video, that was part of why we picked this curriculum. We needed more fun and less monotony, and it has been working really well so far. So that's the activity book. And then these are the readers. So you have 2 hardbound readers. It does make them a little bit more expensive, but it's pretty easy to store. So you can see it starts off pretty easy. This is the first reader. Having flipped through this just this morning, I realized that they do get your kids going into the reading. So I suspect we'll spend some more days on the story reading as we get into these next ones. So maybe our lesson speed won't be quite as fast. But the idea is to get more efficient at reading. And I'm sure there's lots of repetition. That's what they do with these early readers. And having a word list the previous lesson to get you set up for some of the phrases that you might expect, because you're always learning new phrases and new words in every new story. That really helps so they're not completely blindsided by some of the unique or different words that might go with each story. And then the second reader, Queen Bee. The one thing that I don't have is the additional resource pack that's got like a letter cards and some things like that. But we seem to be getting by just fine. The teaching gives you suggestions on pages to stop and questions to ask with your child to really engage them in the story and make sure that they're learning the concepts that they need. Sometimes they're really easy, but that's great. I just say what it tells me to say. I mean, I'm not, it's funny, I've never been one of those people before this year, but I am now. I think I was going to show you something. I don't know what it was I was going to show you. Oh, well. So this is how I organize those lessons. So every day we just pull this folder out. I pull it out or my husband pulls it out. And inside of it is his sticker chart. The first page has the teaching pages. So I've already done this portion. I just simply put an X on it. So we all know we've done that. Move down to the next one. That extra kit had the flashcards and the letter cards for building words. So I just made my own flashcards. They're all written out in there. It's easy enough to do. And then without letter cards, I simply write the words out. I use colors to define different things that we're studying. And I know this looks terrible. I was writing sideways. Just the way that it would be with cards, but I just use paper. That one's upside down. And then in here I have paper, so I don't have to go searching for things. I have blank paper or lined paper or whatever I might need is already in here. And his stickers. So this is sort of like, this is the teacher section, and then this is the kid section. So here's an activity he did last week. It's still in here. 2 weeks of activities, if he wants to continue using them. And then this is where the next one will be. So when whoever's teaching it says, here, have them do this activity, then you just pull this out and it's ready to go. So maybe I'll do the teaching, talking while he does the cutting, whatever it is. The teaching is always really quite easy. And now I know what it is that I was going to tell you. So I have a teacher's manual and I have, yes, 3rd edition. So I've noticed, because I bought these separately, I bought this from a used place. Well, I bought them all used. The page numbers in this book are not always exactly the page numbers in the activity book. And there's a few activities in this book. Maybe it's because it's for the newer edition and this is not the newer edition, or maybe this is the newer one. I think this is probably the newest. Anyway, so check that, because there are a few activities that are not listed in here, or a few things that are listed for a next, like word lists that are listed for the next lesson. It's not rocket science, because this book shows you exactly which reading list you need. So if you need the reading list with the cat on it, the activity of the cat, or the reading list that starts with, whatever word it starts with, broken, that's the one you pull out of here. So that's what I've done, just a forewarning in case you buy your stuff in pieces like I do to save money. Anyway, it's not rocket science. So here's where he has a sheet with this week's reading words. New words, phrases that are for helping use the words he has, or maybe phrases that pertain to the next book that we're going to read. Sentence practice. So, can you open, and then can you open this box? It builds on it, and then challenge words. We read these. We typically only have to read them once. and then we throw them away. And that's quite nice. It's nice for Nathan to be like, ooh, done. Any place if he wants to save some of the activities he's had. And then I just use this as a reference spot for myself. Some literacy games that I have around the house. Some words, some pages about spelling. This comes from The Logic of English, which is a really great book. And then some of those division rules and resources that they give you. So anyway, they're right here. I can add to it. And this is the only folder for our schooling that has more than one section in it. And it's just because there's, multiple parts to it. And I cut that so it would fit in my box. So this is all about reading level 2. Maybe that'll help you make a decision about what you want to do or how to go about doing it, or simply some ideas on how to organize language arts for whatever curriculum you use. Thanks for watching.